The horse needs to be calm and receptive of your touch in order for calm touch to translate into trust. Our next key principle to understand is that calm touch equals trust. Safety is the number one most important thing to any horse. And when we can make them feel safe with us and make them feel safe with us touching their entire body, we gain trust very quickly with that horse. And especially once we work down the legs, up the ears, all of these things rapidly build the horse's trust with us. Now, I want to clarify that by touch, I don't mean that we have our horse cornered and we're forcing them to allow us to touch them, and they're stiff and their eyes are wide and not blinking and their nostrils are flared and their ears are pinned on you because they're freaking out inside. I'm talking about touch when the horse is completely calm and completely in a parasympathetic rest and digest state. Okay? The horse needs to be calm and receptive of your touch in order for calm touch to translate into trust. You may be wondering, why is this even important? Well, you are the very beginning of many things throughout your horse's domestic life that will need to touch your horse. It's always better to have a horse that is calm and receptive of touch than one that is reactive and flighty at touch. When we go to begin haltering, that horse needs to be okay with the halter sliding over his ears. He needs to be okay with your hand rubbing across his face and down his neck. He needs to be okay with a lead rope going over his neck. He needs to be okay with eventually a saddle blanket going over his back. He needs to be okay with a saddle and stirrups rubbing down his sides. He needs to be okay with a girth going underneath him and wrapping all the way around. And he needs to be okay with all of that happening at the same time. And then we add movement on top of that. And he also needs to be okay with all of the tack and all of the gear while he's moving. And then we're going to take it one step further. We're going to add 100 to 150 pound person and movement. So as you can see, things can quickly stack up and blow the top off your horse's threshold if your horse does not comfortably and happily accept touch from the very beginning. It's so important that while we're getting our horse used to being touched, we don't blow them over threshold, that we keep them calm, we keep them comfortable, we keep them accepting, we keep them willing, and we keep them happy. This will translate, guys, to starting your horse with leading, haltering, and starting them with riding. So it's extremely important that we take our time here. We don't rush or corner the horse. We don't force ourselves into touching them where they're not comfortable with it yet. And we slowly expand our area of touch to include the horse's whole body as they dictate. We're not going to say, by Thursday, I'm going to be touching down his front legs, and by Friday, I'm going to touch down the back legs. That's not for us to decide. That is for the horse to dictate. We will travel at their speed. If it's Friday and my horse is still only okay with me touching his head, that is okay. It is very important that your horse is happy with touching all parts of their body before we move forward. Here are a few things that can happen if your horse is not comfortable with touch. You go to halter them, they run at the side of the halter. You go to halter them, they throw their head up in the air and don't want anything to do with it. You go to throw the lead rope over their neck so you can halter them, and they rear up, freak out, spin around, and take off into the distance and want nothing to do with you. You go to throw the saddle pad over the back. They rear up, freak out, set back, hurt themselves in the process, and now you've got damage with tying that you have to work through, in addition to the issues with touch. You throw the saddle on, and the stirrup comes around and whacks them on the other side, and now they're jumping on top of you to get away from that touch. Touch adds pressure to horses. This is not really a human concept that we get until someone teaches it to us. But every single thing we do with our horses adds pressure to them. Even just being in their presence adds pressure. And you can easily see this if you hop in the pen with a wild Mustang. They're going to go away from you because they're feeling pressured by you. Okay, so it's extremely important that we get our horses used to us, used to our bodies, and used to us touching them so that when we begin to introduce tools, they're ready and willing for that experience. And they have the background of, well, I'm safe with her touching me, and I trust her because she's never pulled me over threshold. Therefore, I think I can handle this halter, and I think I can go touch it. I think I can do it. And they will have a confidence about them that you just don't see in a horse that has been forced into a chute and haltered, forced into a chute and touched all over while they're panicking and freaking out. Those actions build negative concepts of humans in the horse's mind that someone down the road is going to have to undo, whether it be you or someone else. So it's best to just start by keeping your horse calm and under threshold and expanding your area of touch as they allow. And while we're speaking about trust, it's important for me to let you guys know that trust with your horse is absolutely mutual. What do I mean by that? If you hop in the pen with your horse and they're starting to trust you, but you are getting in that pen with an attitude of, I'm really unsure about this guy and I get a little worried when he approaches me and I'm just not too sure. Your horse is going to sense that. Horses have an uncanny ability to sense any emotion or rapid fire thoughts that you've got going on. They will notice and they will respond accordingly. If we get in there with a confident and trusting attitude, however, they will also respond accordingly to that. And their response will be equally as positive as the positivity that you've got going on inside your confidence and your trust in that horse. You can never fully have a horse that trusts you completely if you don't also trust that horse. So trust is a two-way street, just like our relationship with these guys. And pretty much every aspect of horse training is a two-way street if you're choosing to go down the path of creating a willing equine partner versus a shut-down horse that's forced to enact certain behaviors because you say so. Now, why is this method of training better? Let's get into this. Once again, a horse trained by fear is always going to fear something more than you. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm riding down a beautiful mountain trail and out hops a bear, I don't want my horse to dump me in the dust and leave because they're more scared of that bear than they are me. I want that horse to stop when they see that bear and go, hey, what do you want me to do? And ask me what to do and how to handle this situation. And then we can move forward together in the safest possible route for both of us, rather than the horse reacting to something that's more scary than you, and then that horse being labeled as dangerous or spooky or he bucks or he kicks or things like that. We can avoid all of these fundamental problems by basing our training off of trust and a true relationship rather than force and fear. What do you think about this? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you're coming from a more traditional background, I came from that background myself. You are more than welcome here. I hope you take pieces that you feel are applicable to you at this time in your journey and leave what's not. I'm here for you guys, and I'm here to help you create a more meaningful and connected relationship with your horse. See you next time.